For questions, like I say, you can ask them about how they wrote their books or publishing, stuff like that. And we'll do this for a few minutes and then we'll let you buy their books. Eat cookies. Eat cookies. Lots of cookies.
A lot of it.
I'm all hiding the names.
Camera, so.
Oh,
That's true.
So, questions?
Questions, comments, complaints?
You mentioned that in your story about one of the guys who had a blade,
Yes.
and he helped, did he perform a cesarean?
Yes. But they told us that we had to, in my book, I'd give a little more detail, but they told us to kind of not be as,
Don't be too forthright.
yeah.
Excuse me for pointing out.
That's okay.
Did you continue any of your work, your official work when you came back to Texas?
No, I actually did interview DPS, had me come in, actually fly in from California to interview, and I did the oral interviews where they have a panel of 6 to 12 people questioning and asking me, I know, brutal interviews. And that's after you're doing the written and the pattern matching and the science, and then they do this interview. And I aced all the questions, but they started to get a little bit of feel for my personality as I started to relax. So he calls me on the phone, and they were going to put me in McAllen. I didn't know what McAllen was till I got there. And so he calls up and he's like, yeah, you scored highest. We're supposed to offer you the job, but you'd have to train in Austin for a year and you'd never come back to McAllen. So they passed me up. APD, I've considered it, but I'm really enjoying not walking through people's blood for a living, and scraping mothers off of their deceased son's hands so I can get his fingerprints. It's kind of nice not being involved in that. And now I work with several nonprofits working with at-risk youth. In fact, my books, part of the proceeds always go to the Youth Advocate Program, working with at-risk youth. And so I'm enjoying doing that. Even though I really miss it, I also don't.
Thank you. How about you? Have you written more than, this is just a short story, right?
Yes, this is 25,000 words. That's a short story.
Yeah.
And it is.
See, both were wrong at the time, right?
Huh?
See, both were wrong at the time, right?
At the time, yeah, this was a short one. I have written other books. I write, I guess they call it adventure fiction. They're college-aged, non-hero based books, so it's everybody out for themselves, kind of gun running and drugs. I like to think of them as uplifting. Those are not the books that I brought here. This was in particular was for this particular book, and I was the Odysseus, a couple of other high fantasies that were, and there was another steampunk book that was written in the time of the Texas Republic, but I have not pushed for a release on any of those.
Did you write in isolation, or were you in collaboration with anyone that you were doing this? Did you try to get an overall feel for?
I guess every writer writes in isolation. You write by yourself, sad and alone on a little typewriter in the dark. I do collaborate. One of my writing group friends is here, and I do actually talk to people about, when I throw out first chapters and say, does this actually make any sense, or am I babbling like an idiot? And I like to get returns that say, you're babbling like an idiot, that way I know what to cut out. But yes, I do collaborate on certain chapters. I collaborate on short stories, but the ideas are all mine, except for this one, which is partly Shakespeare's. Much like I have to credit Homer for the Odyssey.
Yeah, but
I will give credit where it's due. I didn't come up with the whole story.
But what is Shakespeare done lately?
I'm picking it up because he's dropped it completely. He's let him alone. Yes.
So what led you into this punk with these other 4 writers? How did that emerge?
It wound up being, of all the silly things, it was a, what are those things called? It's like a Facebook group. And we had just exchanged ideas back and forth. One gentleman who is in here, Mr. Jeffrey Cook, he has entire series of fae and humans and angels and whatnot. He was pitching the idea of doing a short book on Shakespeare, doing retellings, but only in the punk genre. And it just happened to be, I saw the article, not an article, but he posted something and said, hey, would anybody else be interested? I said, sure, why not? I'm willing to give some of my time and not get any profit out of it whatsoever. Because like I said, the books are to go to the shelter. So it is a throwaway. It is, for me as a writer, it's all about just being able to say, hey, I have a book, it's published, and my name is in something somewhere, and I can honestly say, I am an author. But do I gain much out of it? Not really. And the Writer Punk, which is the group